glad that you are joining me and I'm joining you in these few moments to reflect on the thought and prayers issued this morning. These are very brief one-sentence thoughts, nothing more required than that, and a very short prayer that, of course, naturally comes from the heart. We start really by putting ourselves not only in each other's company, but in the company of Sri Ramakrishna, Holy Mother, and Swami Vivekananda. So I began the thought by mentioning that people all over the world are self-isolating, that is, voluntarily putting themselves away from others as self-imposed quarantine for the protection of others, and in some cases for their own protection, but mainly they are concerned about other people. This act alone, taken in the right way, is a great expression of selflessness and brings to the fore in a moment of crisis one of the great noble qualities, concerns for other people, not just around themselves, but for the wider community. I mentioned that this self-imposed isolation should not mitigate against a wonderful saying from Holy Mother. It says, learn to make the whole world your own. The statement assumes that we have some learning to do, and that currently we don't think of the world in this way. In previous days and years, we maybe hear at a distance some calamity in a far corner of the world, and we don't pay that much attention to it because it doesn't impact us locally. But here there's a generosity of spirit that goes beyond the pale of self-effort for our own freedom, spirituality only for ourselves and for our own sake. It's like a kind of flower in the midst of us, representing our own heart, that has the generosity of spirit to open up. A flower is a very good example. A flower doesn't judge what creature should land on it. Indiscriminately, it sends its fragrance out to everywhere. Its beauty is admired by all, and it facilitates the spread of pollen everywhere and allows bees to collect its nectar and transform it into honey. Its fragrance can be smelt and detected at a distance. Just the very scent of it, the color of it, and also how the structure is enough to elevate the spirits so that we ourselves want to open our hearts. The opposite of that, of course, is what we call egoism, selfishness. Selfishness is a closing thing, not an opening thing. Selfishness makes us small, but selflessness opens our heart, and we don't care where it goes. It's not like genetic love. Every animal, every organism will have this genetic love for its own. And if a foreigner comes in, fighting and biting and scratching takes place. But is a human anything like that? So in times of crisis, we find a stimulus that naturally allows us to be more generous. And fear and doubt closes us because it's centered around ourselves. when we learn to think of others, when we learn to expand this, Holy Mother says, make the whole world your own. Expanding it beyond any kind of borders. Because when we look at the whole world today, it's not just the globe, it's not just the earth. In the Gayatri Mantra, we begin with the prefaced words, sounds, Bu, Bhuva, Swaha, indicating three worlds, not only the observable universe, but also the great universe beyond our range and the interspace in between. All of these three areas are covered. And so let us, with a spirit of generosity, use these moments of isolation to bless the entire world. Will it have its effect? We can be assured that every thought arrives at its destination. Every intention carries through, unless suitably neutralized by another thought. And so if we sustain our intention with sincerity and with a generosity of spirit, we'll find